Yo, yo, what's going on? Sick day out there again. Loads of opportunity again in the China basket. Gonna let everyone filter in and then I'll touch on some topics. I'm thinking same kind of way I did it yesterday. I'm going to do some trade review, maybe run over the names I have on my list right now, go over through my FinViz scans, add a few names, and then make the watch list for tomorrow, and answer any topics that come up in the chat. And then we'll move on from there. Let some people filter in first. How we doing? Damn, YouTube's sleeping today. Sleeping. Do you get copyrighted if you play music on this kind of stuff? El Jefe, what's going on? You were chatting about some China stuff in here yesterday. Did you trade any of those today? I'm going to run through some of my trades from today. Check out this tiger. This is how not to trade. Man. Short. High a day. Stop. Re-short. Failed follow through. Cover. Re-short. View app reclaim. Cover. Short. Cover. Oh, slam into lows. Every time I was making a gain on it, I just give it back the next trade. Good evening, D. What's going on, Kyle? Yeah, I got some short on LX today. Nice. LX was the moneymaker. Oliver, what's going on? Some people starting to filter in here. Good to see. LX, I had a monster trade on that today. Was my main trade of the day. I had put some on here pre-market, given that it was gapping up so much. We had the after hours clear out in addition to the power gap this morning, which I ended up stopping out of this position through the pre-market highs, straight through here. And then I reacted to the parabolic, covered the flush, re-short the lower high, scale through fail follow through, covered, and then joining pops along VWAP and covering along the way. Short, cover, short, cover, short, cover. Just nice winner there. I ended up missing this one. I was getting off right around here, right before 11. Would have been my biggest trade of the year if it stayed below 8 and faded like it was supposed to. Isn't that funny? Like it was supposed to. I wish all stocks acted like I thought they were supposed to. But yeah, Tiger was definitely a tougher one today, a lot choppier. Plan last night was I needed a big gap, and I got it, and it just it didn't work. Q, what's going on? Finally caught one of these live streams. Nice. Yeah, I'll probably go on for, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes or so by the time I get through all this stuff, so. But yeah, LX was nice. I did put on a few right before market close, just a small balance, given that this was the first day. Not only the first day it went red, but the first day it closed red. So if this gaps up tomorrow and doesn't start to act heavy doesn't flush red immediately and start to act heavy versus these 350s, then I likely move on. But I wanted some overnight exposure in case we get a gap down like it has gapped up. Now that it's red, possibility of a gap down, in my opinion. I think this grind into close, this one was like the weakest of the bunch, where a bunch of these like UXIN, bouncing, Duo, bouncing into close, Few2, bouncing into close, Baba, bouncing into close, and then LX just sideways, just wasn't bouncing at all. Few2 paid large. Yeah, Few2 was my second biggest trade of the day. Let it do its thing off the open. Wasn't looking to fight it. Once he got this hard crack, I chased some. Got this lower high. This was chase size versus high a day risk. Really wide risk. Then once I get this lower high, now I can scale versus this bounce high. I scaled a bit more through this low a day crack, and it just didn't stay heavy, so I sized down, and I put a bit more back on into the bounce, about half, maybe 2/3 what I had here, and then just rode that one with a wider stop and let that trade work. Missed out on about $5 there, but like I say, I just wasn't sticking around past 11, so took the meat of the move there for me. Tiger was an easy long? What? You crazy, man. You crazy. I didn't see any of these as a long today at all. The dailies on this is extended 3 to 850. Yeah, I don't see any way that was an easy long, in my opinion. That was a short setup by a short setup by a short setup. There was no reason for me to be long on that one today. Very nice active trading there. Thank you. I appreciate that. I was a bit more active today. Nate had put out a scan, I believe. He retweeted it this morning. Let me check here. Give me a second. I will find it. Because he was saying where most of his money he was giving up was basically having a covering half, not taking the whole position. And right here, Sam did it, and then Nate reposted it. Let me throw it up here. 1 second. I'm still new to this. Bear with me. Posts with replies. This one. There we go. And then I can move it over here. Nice. So this was it. Questions to ask yourself tomorrow. Before you trade Duo, are you trading it because you want to nail it or because the setup is there? Be honest. Most times it's the fear of missing that gets you in there. You've seen my posts, trades the last 2 days. You need my comments, read not sizing unless X happens. That prevents so much chop. Remember, everyone wants to nail Duo, so if you have Duo, LX, Tiger setting up, what will be the least crowded? There was a part on that. I might be able to find it. Let me see. Let me pull up scan for October 2nd. Love this live watch list and recap. What's up, Anthony? How's it going? Nice to see ya. Nice to see ya. I just wanted to... There it is. The watch list here. Man, I can't find it. He said something along the lines of basically when he gets short his main position. This is Nate. It was on scan yesterday, the day before. But he gets short and he's right, and he's trying to let the trade work, and he covers half along the way, and then he tries to let the other half work, and that's the half that ends up chopping himself up. Is basically the gist of it. So Nate being a lot more experienced than I am, I take his warnings like that to heart, And that was part of the reason why I was a lot more active on the names today, where in the past, if stuff is working like full day moves, then this hard crack lower high is a short full size risk high a day for me, and let the trade work basically on some sort of trailing stop with a prior 5 minute bar break, which would have covered me right around here in the 390s, which still would have been a 60-cent winner. But then you end up missing this and this. So I decided to take the more active route, and it ended up paying better than the big picture idea. So yeah, so LX and then Futu was the other one. Nice trade there. Baba was a quick little scalp there through this morning failed follow through setup, a little bouncy ball, short of the crack, and then covered the immediate flush. This is just a scalp op for me. When you zoom out, why I'm more patient on something like Futu is when you look at the daily, this thing up from 60 to 120. That's a 100% move on a large cap. That's huge. I'd still be looking for further red day. What's been working well in this market is second red days have had a lot more range than first red days. So I think there is possibility there. So I'll be looking at pops for Futu. Baba, but the reason I was a lot more scalpy on this, looking for my exit, basically while I'm already entering, is this daily. It already had a pullback here. So this thing, in my mind, is only out from 106 to the 1-teens. So that's not as extended as something like Futu that hasn't had a pullback in 2 weeks. So those are the one. And then Tiger, I ended up losing on, a net loser. So yeah, 4 trades today, all the China basket, all with the same kind of gap up, parabolic blowout type trade. And a nice opportunity there. UXIN, daily not going away. Duo, fairly strong close. Volume starting to dry up. Given where this gapped, I wasn't super interested in the long, but you can see that 360 line we drew from the watch list yesterday came into play here, and that was the low a day. So prior resistance is acting as support. So I'd need to see this back under 360 before I was interested in a short trade. And then I'd look to trade that range, 360 breakdown to like a 240 cover. And then once 240 breaks, then look for that big picture unwind back to where it came from. UXIN, same kind of thing, looking for 5 to fail. I think there is a possibility of this tomorrow. I am cautious of the wicks. They're on the wrong side of the daily candles than I typically like for failed follow through setups, but the intradaily here with this 5 breakdown is a bit too good to ignore. So after its morning weakness, look for bounces to start to fail. Morning weakness, bounces start to fail. So ideally a morning flush sub 5, a retest of 5, get that confirmation failed follow through, and look to fade that liquidity pocket back down to like $3 ideally. Tour, another retest of 130, same kind of thing as UXIN. It's doing the same kind of moves where you get that weak open and then it rallies late day. So I'd be looking for a 130 breakdown, 130 retest, and then failed follow through setup there. Futu I went over. There's still room there to the 4 EMA down near 100. So I'd be looking towards this support. Prior resistance to become support. Look for a little failed follow through opportunity there. TANH, this is a China name. History of one and dones along the way. Let me see here. 1 second. Yo. Nate's checking out the watch list. Cool. Gave a shout out on Twitter. Thanks, Nate. Appreciate that. So yeah, this one has a history of one and done type fails. But as it's starting to build through this 25, as money starts to filter out of these other names, they could start to come into this name. And this has got that same daily setup. So if we get the theme trade aligning with the daily setup, and then it confirms intraday, you get that little three-step process that I like to see, basically going from higher time frames. So 25, look for that to build and base over 25 for that big picture breakout. Because if this can confirm a day 2 and not just fail right after one shove, then I think there's opportunity on this one for higher as well. So I think that's the main batch from today. And I will switch over here to my FinViz screen. Let me see here. FinViz, stock screener should be up. And I can move this over. Let's see, make sure that's positioned right. Yeah, looks good enough. So I'll do my typical evening process here, and I'll run through a few of my scans, note down some names. If you guys have any names you're watching, anything you traded today that you'd like to go over, feel free to throw some names in the chat and expand on some ideas. I don't really love like the ticker thoughts question mark, but if you can put some of your own ideas behind the ticker or the question, then I'd be happy to cover it and bounce some ideas off you guys. So just filtering through KXIN, small little breakout there. That looks like a China name. Throw that on a list. It's got this small little volume here overhead, right in the 40 cent, but where most of the volumes come in, right there through 30 cents. So a little breakout, see how weak opens act on that tomorrow. It's kind of weird with this sector because a lot of times there's a head of the snake, and then these sympathy names where you get like kind of that few second delay where the edge is almost in trading the sympathy names, where something like UXIN flushes and then you get 5 to 10 seconds to react to the sympathies that move along with it. But this sector's been a bit weird because they haven't been moving necessarily in lockstep, in tandem. So some stuff is breaking out as some stuff is fading, like LX is closing on lows, and then you get stuff like TANH and KXIN breaking out of their recent daily channels. So bit weird, but as long as stuff keeps setting up, I'll keep trying it. Swing the bat hard while opportunities are there. LX, I see this as a short all pops. This hasn't traded this much volume ever. I'm gonna zoom out here on my DAS chart before I stick my foot in my mouth, but I'm pretty sure this hasn't traded 30 million shares in a day. Yeah, not even close. Highest volume days are in the 12, 13 million range. So I see this as a short all pops type daily. Whether this completely fails tomorrow or if it wants to bounce back in something like did Serve do it? Yeah, let me pull up here. Something like Serve, where you get this big parabolic daily, massive first red day, and whether it's a couple consolidation days like this before LX fails off, or if it wants to do it tomorrow and have a second red day. Either way, I'll be there for it. Clove, that's a decent looking daily. Looks like a news move there. Damn. I'll show that intraday in a minute. Let's see if they got news. Damn, chat's quiet. It was popping here. Is this thing still on? I got quite a few people in here, more than normal. I don't see the chat scrolling. Maybe it's broken on my end. Yeah, I don't see any catalyst here for Clove, but we'll look at that in a minute. Nice little daily there, regardless. Let's check. Test. What's going on, family man? How you been trading lately? I don't believe we met in person, but I think we've exchanged some conversations online in chat room and stuff. Interesting pop today. Piece of junk. Yeah. Old dude showed up and wrecked the vibe. Anthony is he's about 26, 27 years old. Family man, been doing well. Good to hear. Good to hear. Yeah, Clove is non-China. That daily chart is kind of interesting. So I'll do a dive into that once I finish running through these list of names. Matt Rice, what's going on? Nice to see you, buddy. Will you be making it out to Traders for a Cause or not this year? I think last time we chatted, you were up in the air. CNF. That's interesting. China? I'll throw that on a list. Lighter volume name, only 3 million shares today. That thing's straight up from $1. I finally made the live stream. Not this year. Not this year. I've heard that from a few people. A few of the regulars. Doesn't sound like we'll be making it back this year. Nice. CNF looks decent. Let's see. Yard. Not too liquid. Load. It's a load of garbage. I took some NVAX today for a swing. Let me look at the daily and then I'll guess if it's long or short. Oh yeah, long. Out of this little consolidation break. Yeah, don't hate that. Not really my speed. I prefer a bit quicker money, but I do see the merit in that. Don't hate the technical setup. Don't know if there's anything fundamental pushing it, but looks like a decent chart-wise. I didn't pull it up here. Let me pull it up for the stream. See, I got so many screens. I'm not used to this whole live stream stuff. But that was the one he was mentioning out of this little daily range there in the low 14s. What else? LX, Clove. I like when names start to pop up on multiple of my scans. Like LX from last night going into today. That was why it was a main watch chart setup, and it's coming up on multiple scans. Let's see. Burning through these daily chart setups are not my favorite. And you don't need too many. You know, I like to go into the day with 2 or 3 mains and try to nail those. Agba, wow. Check out that. That's a wild setup. Worth noting. Nothing I'd buy. It's a bit too far off of the $2 highs, but decent little wedge break. What else? These are my fader scan. Lace looks like it wants to die. That was that capybara research name. If that takes out 12, looks like it's dead. NA failed off a $1 again. last scanner for me. And then we can hop back to my DAS charts, make some plans for tomorrow. Anything you guys want to touch on, feel free to throw it in the chat box, whatever you guys call it, whatever these cool YouTubers call it. And resize my screen. Let me see here. What does this thing look like? All right, let's run through. Check out something like Nate's scan. I won't throw it up because it's proprietary trading technology. Take Nate's ideas, make them your own. Yeah, like Nate said in Scan, choosing the names to focus on, make sure they fit your personality, not mine. So I like to go through all of my scans, and then some people I vibe with, like Nate's scan, Kyle Williams, he puts out a scan. I like to brush up on them. I vibe with their style. And I don't trade by any means everything they're trading, but when our ideas align, they're typically decent trades, and then I just kind of write off the rest. KC? Yeah, I definitely need that higher. That's not extended enough for me. Da. Just a quick run through. What's that one? Only 1 million shares. Okay. I'll do a deeper dive of the IU chat logs once I hop off here, because otherwise that will bore you guys to death. So I'll run through a few names, and like I say, if there's anything you guys want to touch on, feel free to throw it in the chat. But I'm going to run through stuff that's hit my scan now, names I'm looking to trade tomorrow, and then if nothing comes up in chat, I can close it out early. No sense sticking around and babbling for no reason. Oops. I minimized my YouTube. Okay, it's still live. Okay, so start off here with UXIN. Intradaily, $5 support, throw a line on there. Daily wicks are absorbing versus $5. So possibility of a 640 clear out if we get power off the open. What I'd prefer is to see a weak open, flush sub 5, a 5 retest, act as resistance, and then join that trend for the liquidity pocket from 5 back down to 3 over the near term. Duo, a bit too choppy for my liking. I likely avoid this one. I think a lot of people are trying to nail it. I think a lot of people lost on this day, especially with it being the first time going red. So I don't really have an interest in this. I think there's a better edge elsewhere where you can get some decent size and not be fighting the tape. LX, I have a small balance on. I put on into close for a possible gap down. If this gaps down, I have the ability to scale. But if I get a slight gap up, I'm not emotionally attached sort of deal. And look for a morning strength to meet some sell pressure, and then look for basically a first red day. It did go red today. What was the previous day's close? Was 345. So it did go red briefly by about 30 cents, but not enough for a first red day for me. I'd like to see this sub 3 into this sort of congestion of those few lines I have drawn there. So higher the better, failed follow through. Tour, same kind of plan as UXIN for me. I don't think there's a reason for this thing to be up. We've got those wicks versus the 130s. I think this will move in tandem with UXIN. So same kind of thing. Look for blowout versus this 175 resistance. But what I'd prefer is a 130 breakdown, retest, and failed follow through for a fade back to 1. Tiger, given how much I chopped myself up on that this morning, I don't have a huge interest in it. If this, what's the previous close here? 831 close today. Doesn't sound right. Yeah, DAS just didn't update. It's down here in the 810s, 18s. So if this can hold red, act 8 as a top, I might give it a try tomorrow. The 4 EMA is sitting right around 6.5, right around here. So if I can get an 8 top to risk off of tomorrow for a fade back, do have quite the gap fill back down to 6s. So I might give it a try, but we'll see. We'll see where we're gapping tomorrow. Not as high of a conviction trade for me. Few2, if this thing fails, maybe it brings Tiger with it. First red day, nice blow off exhaustion volume. I think there's room back to 100 or so in the short term, like in the next day or two, and then let it pick its direction there in the coming days. Baba, not as much range. I likely take this one off radar, and in terms of large caps, just focus on Few2. Jivo, big picture wise, held this higher low trend. Dips versus 150 are holding so far. See if it wants to perk off of it and start to test this 180s, but just going to keep that one on radar. These oil and gas names didn't amount to much. Quite a bit of overhead. Not really something I'd like to play a breakout on, but just noting the push and fail on a lot of these names. ENDP, quite the rip today. I missed. Oh, wow. I didn't even see that one this morning. Jeez. Talk about failed follow through setup. Look at that, right off of 230s, couple exhaustions through 230. Higher low. Man, look at that. 230. And the bouncy ball setup off of failed follow through resistance. There's a super high EV short spot right there. That's wild. Wasn't even paying attention to that. And then 10H, China name. This one's hitting scan here. Possible gap fill back up to the 40s. Going to look for a 25-cent break and build. If it proves that it can hold its gains for more than one day, like it's popped and failed in all these days, then I like that one for a trend join. Possible swing trade, big picture setup there. KXIN I don't love as much. I might trade it, see how weak opens act versus 30 cents. But it did break out here into close. So it does have a bit of a top wick to get through volume-wise. But we'll see how dips hold versus 30 cents tomorrow. If we get a weak open, 30 hold, possible gap and crap reversal. If we get like a pullback, lower high, double bottom, and then break of that lower high, decent little risk reward spot. Look for some sort of intraday pattern to trade the big picture daily. And then CNF hit scan here as well. Nice daily chart setup going from 90 cents to 280. volume starting to speed up here. China name, and you get this pre-market shove, and then a retest of it looking left levels. That was right off of market open, right here, 930, parabolic into looking left, and you get this 210 base, which was basically today's low a day. Came back pretty strong. Again, a bunch of the China basket did. So if this can go red tomorrow, I like that for a first red day possibility. And if it confirms 210, then I think you get a pretty nice unwind there. You can see where all the volume is traded. Possible 250 as risk, and then a scale sub 210. And I don't see much support, kind of like a lookout below type scenario. So I think that would be it. Still a lot of China names. That's where a lot of the daily chart patterns that I vibe with. That's where a lot of the liquidity, volatility, and daily chart patterns that I like to trade, that's where they're coming up. So I'll stick there. It's not like I'm just trading China names to trade China names. Like Nate had said, are you trading Duo just because you want to trade Duo and nail it, or is it because you have an edge? So I think that's something to keep in mind. Anything else you guys want to touch on? We've been on for 30-something minutes or so, half hour. Anything that you guys want to me to pull up? Otherwise, I've pretty much covered everything I want to cover. I'll get over to reviewing the chat logs from today. But if that's all you guys got, I can close it out there. Give a few seconds, few minutes. Otherwise, we can call it there. All right, few of you guys here. Family Man, I'm still watching Octo. What was that one? Recent reverse split. Pull up my other screen here. Yeah, reverse split back on August 16th. I believe this was a pump. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this was a compensated promo. Yeah, this was a compensated promo. So at this point, once the crowd comes in, and once they've it was compensated back over here on this day, I believe. They held it up, dumped it into intraday, and then the massive gap up basically squeezed all the shorts, and they had a hell of a time trying to work that 450 line on that day. There was so much volume going off over 450. They were trying to squeeze it so bad, and they just couldn't. So I think they walked. Something like this, if this were to parabolic or put out a PR, I'd be a lot interested in shorting pops than trying to dip by something like that. Would be my opinion on that. Just because of one, I don't like backside bounces on day one runners, basically. Like, yes, it did run for a few days, but all the volume was traded on one day. And knowing the backstory of the compensated promo. The other names they did, let me see here. They've done MNPR, just checking my list. They've done MMPR. Once they come in, squeeze it out, they walk. CYBN. They did this one. Once they come in, they walk. But yeah, there's a bunch of other ones. They are, yeah, don't love it. That they've come into listed names a lot more. Let me see. Let me look up if I have my. What else do I got here? We had Elvis right here, stock promo. Once they move in, move out, this thing is dead. RGC right here, stock promo, and then it's dead. So that would be my opinion on it. I think it's dead, but I think that's enough on that. I do get some questions on who's promoting it, where do I find it, and I'm never going to answer that question because I've had to find out who, and there's edge in knowing why it's up and who's pumping it. So if you want it, you can find it, but yeah. El Jefe, you never trade day one gaps. Never is not true, but if I'm following proper process for myself and discipline, no, I don't trade day one gappers. I don't really have much conviction on them. When I do trade them, it's small size. I like to be able to have a set risk or a level that I can trust and play off of. So if I'm using like a daily resistance, or like what was the like Tiger today. This wasn't a day one gapper, but this is what happens to me a lot on day one gappers is I risk something like high a day, like pre-market highs or high a day. And then I short into pre-market highs, the parabolic, you get the lower high, and then it goes right through high a day. And then I cut, oh my God, it's squeezing. And then it fails. So then I'm trying to short into it, like, okay, now that was the last squeeze, now let me cover, and then it holds, and then it comes back. Oh, now it broke high a day, let me get out. And I just end up chopping myself back and forth. A lot of the people that have created a process for shorting those day one gappers, like I know Huddy talks a lot about it, and he's got like a wide risk scenario where it's like an average spike percent, and he just risks it as a just risks it on every trade. I'm going in willing to risk X percent, and if it runs 70% for my entry, then I cut. That's not what it is, but just as an example. And I'm not willing to do that. I think there's other better risk reward opportunities for me when I could get multi-day support and resistance levels that set up like $5. If this breaks, this should fail. And I have confidence in that because it's 1, 2, 3, 4 days proving it's a key level. So I think that there's edge there. I like trading them all. I mean, have at it. If you make money at it, I'm not gonna say what to do, what not to do. My way is not the right way. It makes me money, so I'm gonna keep doing it. Respect, got to do what works for you. Thanks for explaining. Yes, of course. API was the one for me today. I did see that running pre-market, steady bidder there. Oh yeah, nice. See, that's the thing right here. You see? You get that morning highs, pull back, and then swipe. And I'd be like, okay, I'm risking high a day. You get that swipe through highs. I'm stopping out right there. And then it fails because there's nothing telling me that this break of highs, if I'm holding it, isn't going to start going 750 and start skipping up on me. So perfect example right there where I like to have a set risk and respect that stop because it keeps me safe more times than not. and risking high a day. Seems like on most of these day one gappers, if you can survive till like 10:30, 11, the volatility starts to dry up and it's a lot cleaner. You just have to kind of survive the open. So it might be something I look at down the road. If stuff I'm trading starts to dry up, maybe I start to look at them and find some sort of edge for me, which I think would be like a 10:30 a.m. plus, where if I can short it in the fives and risk high a day, sure, I'm risking $1 a share, but I think the odds of once it's continuing to make lows by that point is like 80% of these close below their open, so it should keep fading. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Good couple questions. Thank you. Alrighty, well, that answers everything. Covered a few questions. I appreciate you guys tuning on in. I think it helped having posting the link over on Twitter. There was a few people that came from there, so I will post this on YouTube so anyone can go back and watch it that wasn't here live. But I appreciate you guys coming and interacting. Good day, good week so far. Good couple days to start October. Good chats tonight. Yeah, I agree. I think it was valuable. I appreciate you guys interacting and bouncing some stuff back and forth. So yeah, I ran over my list there. Good couple questions. And as always, get in where you fit in, make some memories, and I'll see you guys in the room. Thanks for coming by.